Welcome to the trade period. It just opened. Justin Leppitsch talked to Kaltumi from Trade Radio, so we're going to break that down. It is going to be a big couple of weeks. Buckle up, get your popcorn. Let's get into it. So, Monday, October 6th, Justin Leppitsch was speaking to Kaltumi about everything that's going on with Collingwood at the moment. Jack Buller, Clayton Oliver, Bobby Hill, Bailey Humphrey, a whole raft of players. Let's dive straight into it.
That Collingwood is having a consideration on Clayton Oliver. What can you tell us about the interest in Clayton?
Yeah, we're just going through our due diligence on that one. Obviously, it came in.
So, right off the bat, Clayton Oliver, he is red hot at the moment. He's in Sydney. He's talking to the Giants. Collingwood are second favourites for him. And we'll hear Justin Leppitsch explain it a little bit further.
Last week, bordering on the weekend. So we got the call from his management and thought, yeah, we'll definitely do the work. It's a position of need for us.
So first off there, his management, Clayton Oliver's management, called up Collingwood and said, hey, Melbourne are going to be paying $700,000 of this guy's salary. Do you want him? It's 4 or 5 years contract. You'll only be paying $650,000. Justin Leppitsch said it's an area of need. We know that we have been shocking in clearances. Last year, definitely, especially this year. Even like goals from clearances and stuff like that, it's something that is a really big area of concern for us. If we had just tightened that up throughout the season, we could have won a couple more games. And you can see how clearances can make a big difference in your team and your sort of midfield and your bulls around there as well. And if you can get Clayton Oliver for a cheap pick swap or something like that, would be huge.
Face value, it's a good thing to look into, but we'll probably know in the next couple of days whether we're going to progress with that.
Have you spoken to him yet?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
Yep.
He's obviously up in Sydney at the moment too, so we'll get through the first parts, and if we want to get to a meeting, I might have to get in a plane, Cal, and get up there and see him.
So that's the biggest thing. So no one's spoken to Clayton Oliver yet, just with his management. So obviously we know managers shop around these players. And looks like Justin Leppitsch might be heading to Sydney. Could be heading to Sydney for Buller as well.
What does the process look like if you do pursue it in terms of a trade, given his contract? He's got 5 years left remaining, of course.
Look, haven't gone down that pathway yet. Had a brief chat with Melbourne about what a deal could look like.
So they're talking to the management. They're talking to Melbourne as well. Just haven't talked to Clayton Oliver because there's no point at the moment. Like if Clayton says, I want to, go to the Giants. There's no point, resources flying to Sydney to talk to Clayton Oliver and stuff like that.
Somewhat similar to what was reported. So, but again, we just want to get through the first parts. First, is he good for Collingwood and vice versa?
Let's get into a couple of the...
So is he good for Collingwood? I think that centres around the culture aspect of it all. We know that Clary is a bit of a loose unit off the field. So what does that mean? With mixing, we know, he'll talk about Stephen May in a little bit. We know Stephen May wouldn't have been good for culture. It has to be a fine line. I've always said that, if you want to change a player's behaviour and player's ways, Craig McRae and the team are the best to do it. But again, I want to get out of that own headspace that I have cultivated for myself. Because yes, although it is true, players should be wanting to change their behaviour and their culture and not leaning on extraneous people to help change that. They should be wanting to do it themselves. And maybe Clary just needs to get out of the demons and start fresh.
Now, to start with Jack Buller, how early do you want to get that deal done with the Swans?
In about 15 minutes, if I could. I think all the players sit there nervously and just want to get their deals done. But obviously we've all got lots of things to do. Sydney's got a few things they're bouncing around as well. So hopefully early, but you never know.
So Jack Buller is the forward coming from Sydney. He's played 10 games for the Swans. We lose Brody Myercheck to Melbourne. Sydney, they're getting Malcolm Roses Jr. at the moment. Might be one of the first cabs off the rank in the trade period. So he's from the Suns. I'm not sure who else they're sort of working with. I think maybe Curnow if he doesn't go to Sydney. Doesn't go to Geelong. So Sydney they're going to be a bit of a major trade player at the moment.
More likely now for Brody Myercheck? Is that a chance in terms of a later deal rather than go through the free agency mechanism?
It is a possibility. Obviously, they've got some,
So just there is a very interesting tidbit that Brody Myercheck could be now a trade option as opposed to just being signed as an unrestricted free agent. So that could be something to do with, it could help with getting Clayton Oliver to the team.
Spargo gives them a really good pick. So yeah, we'll decide whether we want to go down that path or not.
Have you identified?
So he mentioned Spargo there. Spargo is joining North Melbourne as a free agent. That literally just went through as I'm recording this. I saw the notification pop up. No compensation pick has been given just yet. But when you do get other players from free agency, you sometimes can dilute the pick that you get. So they're going to get a good pick or a decent pick for Spargo. And then if you bring a free agent in, that does dilute it a little bit. And we've seen this multiple times. I think it happened with the Lions and Dan McStay as well from memory. But it does happen. So you want to just keep all your options open as a football club.
As the Myercheck replacement?
I wouldn't put that much pressure on him. I mean, Brady's such a wonderful player. I think one thing we've watched Jack a lot this season, I did personally, and what he does really well, he competes hard in the air and at ground level and pressures. And I think the Collingwood supporters are looking, and when they watch him play, so he plays like a Collingwood player, and I think that's the...
How good is that? You watch him and say he plays like a Collingwood player. We know that our forward line, or probably just our team just in general, it's not just about, getting the ball, marking it and going for goal. It's about the second, the third, and the fourth efforts. And it sounds like Buller. We talked about Buller a few weeks ago, and I said that that's what he does from the highlights that I was seeing. Obviously, they've looked at him close for over a year, and it's those second and third efforts that you want. It's the repeat efforts, and it sounds like they've got a pretty good forward in mind. And I think Charlie West does that a little bit, but that is probably, thinking about it now, that's probably one of the areas probably why he wasn't getting games in the seniors earlier when he was kicking bags at 3 or 4 and 5, because maybe he wasn't, didn't have those repeat follow-ups and stuff. So we'll work on that in his game, but it sounds like Jack Buller is going to be not a Myercheck replacement. Only Myercheck replacement on the team list, not no one can replace Myercheck just yet with the amount of work that Checkers did do for the team.
The best part about Jack.
About this time last year, you raised Bailey Humphrey's name with the Suns. Are you in the race for him again?
Is there a race?
Have you met with him?
No, we haven't met with him. But, we obviously met with him last year, but not.
So this time last year, I was in Europe, so I wasn't really covering the trades as much as I would have liked to. I was getting some videos out there that the OGs remember from last year. I was on in a mountain, on top of a mountain in Switzerland, doing a video up there. But I don't remember Bailey Humphrey's name being around. I definitely didn't make a video about it, so that's really interesting to me. I didn't even know that we talked to him from memory. So we've always had an interest in him, but we haven't talked to him this year.
But look, he's a Gold Coast player, and they're adamant that they're not going to trade him, and that's all we can do. We can respect the wishes of the club that's got the player, and if that changes, well, great. But if not, it is what it is at the moment.
Is it a no for Stephen May?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, we went through the work, and we come to the end point of that one, and unfortunately said to Stephen, he's a good fella, and I wish him well, and I hope he finds the spot. If it stays in Melbourne, great. If not, wherever his next chapter is.
So that's a big one. We kind of knew about this a few days ago, that the Pies weren't going for Stephen May. There's the Jacob Blight coming in, so we're getting a younger player there. I think he's like 10 years younger than Stephen May, so that really helps. Black and White United reported that it might have been a failed medical, but no one has really said that either way, so we're not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, not going after Stephen May, and it harks back onto the culture piece that I talked about a little bit earlier on in the video with Clayton Oliver. It's probably a good idea not to go for someone like Stephen May, just with everything that he does on the field and some of the stuff that he did off the field. He's just not a good Collingwood fit. Not a Collingwood. You don't look at Stephen May and you go, oh, he could be a Collingwood person. No.
What a speculation around Bobby Hill's future at the footy club despite signing that long-term deal. What can you tell us about where it sits for Bobby?
Well, we just signed him for 5 years, so obviously we love him and wanted him for that period of time. Nothing's changed from our end, and there's nothing's changed from Bobby's end. It's just, I guess it's unfortunate, the things he went through and off the field affect his on-field a little bit, but we think we've got a handle on that now and going into the future.
That's it. Put a fork in any more trade speculation. When I even talked about that Zach Butters in the Zach Butters video about how a trade could get done, I was like, it's not going to happen because the only person would be Bobby, and we're not getting rid of Bobby. He wants to stay at the club. And Leppa saying this should just stop any further speculation or trade scenarios where Bobby is used as bait. Like, yes, I said it. I've been saying it for the last couple of months. Send Bobby to West Coast, get pick 2 or 3 or whatever they have. But then that's when it was really down in the dumps. But now he's starting to turn, and he's posting more about Collingwood, and he's going back to training. He's playing footy again. And then Justin Leppitsch comes out and says this: Collingwood player through and bloody through.
For Mason Cox in terms of a new deal?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately for Mason.
We knew about
I hate
this
to
as
see
well.
One of your premiership heroes having to wait for a deal, but it's just the case for Mason at this point in time.
Yeah,
And
that's fair
talking
enough.
off list spots and draft positions as well, decided the Collingwood Footy Club has not
This is the big one.
nominated Tom McGuan as a father-son. Where does it sit in terms of the conversations with Tom, potential for a rookie spot and leaving the door ajar there?
Yeah, and that's probably where it sits. Unfortunately, we couldn't commit to him in the draft. Obviously, still potential for rookie or another club. I mean, he tested so well at the combine yesterday, so he's credit to him. He's put his head down and still worked hard and wants and is craving for that AFL opportunity. So, yeah, that's where it sits right now.
Leppa, thanks for the chat and good luck for the next couple of weeks.
Thanks, Carl. Cheers.
So the Tony McGuan thing took everyone, including me, by absolute surprise. That we're not nominating him for a father's son. Will he get to the rookie draft? I don't think so. Some other club will probably pick him up with a very, very late, or not a very, very late pick, a late pick. He was touted to go at this. I reckon it was top 15, top 20 at the start of the year, but then it's dropped off quite a bit. Collingwood obviously know more than I do, and then we do. There is a video about that and dissecting all of that coming out later on tonight. I've got a bit of insight from Craft of the Draft, so make sure you're following them on YouTube and Instagram. So he's given me a little bit of insight as to what this sort of means going forward and why we may have done that. But that video will be coming out later tonight. So, but that is up to date on all Collingwood aspects. You'll notice that no talk of Zach Butters just yet. I wonder if Leppa said, let's not talk about that on this interview. So maybe they're cooking up something, and that's just my Collingwood bias, cooked brain thinking that it's going to happen, which we know that it's probably 99.95% not going to happen. But it's just very interesting that he wasn't asked the question there. But he cleared up a lot of things, especially the Clayton Oliver thing that we have talked to his management. We have even talked to Melbourne. So that is a little big tidbit. Let me know your thoughts down below on everything Justin Leppitsch said. And like I said right at the start of the video, buckle up, get the popcorn, because this is going to be a huge trade period. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll see you later.